Welcome to Texas!
He's a 10.
I choose this family.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 35 of 911 Lone Star Roundup. I'm one of your hosts, Grace, and with me are my lovely co-hosts, Katie.
Hi guys.
And EJ.
Hey everybody.
Today we will be talking about 911 Original Season 4, episode 13 and 14, titled Suspicion and Survivors. And at the end, we will be discussing our theories for Season 5. We have so much to talk about. You guys shouldn't even see our notes, so we need to keep talking.
Well, I just want to say, we're on our 35th episode.
Isn't that crazy?
Guys?
Like, it's cool. Okay, I'm a numbers person. I like when things are, like, even numbers. I don't know. I just do.
Me too.
I just... I just love it, especially when it's like 35 or like 40. It just makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Guys, imagine the day when we hit 50.
Oh my god.
Oh wow.
We're on that end of the spectrum. We're getting there.
Yeah.
I know.
We will be soon.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So y'all stay tuned for that.
We're throwing a party.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, so I guess, yeah, let's talk about it. So I know in the past two-ish episodes, we've kind of like neglected certain storylines, but that's just because we had so much to watch and to go through, and we were trying to narrow things down. We kind of neglected to talk about one important storyline, which was Hen's med school journey, which we love, but like it kind of gotten like shifted through and stuff, which was totally unintentional. Like we didn't mean to do that at all. It just kind of happened.
We loved it. There was a lot going on, and we've talked about it privately, but when it came to episodes, we just like completely forgot about it.
Honestly, after the last episode when we talked about Future Tense and Jinx, I kind of skipped over that scene, and then after recording I was like, man, we forgot about that scene, and I was like, oh well, it is what it is. And then I was like, oops. But it happens, and like we'll just say it's a good storyline, good things. The good thing is
we're talking about it now.
Yeah, exactly.
Not analyzing the entire season's worth, but like acknowledging it, and we're talking about what happened this
exactly
episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think Hen had a lot going on this season.
Yeah.
So,
oh my goodness.
Family, a lot of family drama. So just
at least we didn't forget Nia.
Yeah.
That was an important thing to me.
And I'm glad that Hen stayed because, like at the end of the season, we thought she was going to med school. So we're like, is she going to even be on the show next season?
Yeah.
So,
but like, it's good because, she still has to have a job.
right.
So, I was glad, of course, that they kept her on. She's one of my favorites. But
yeah, same.
I've actually really loved seeing the journey and like still having it incorporated with her still on the ambulance, but like, juggling a job, kids, med school. Like med school is not something to sneeze at.
Right.
No, yeah. Actually, I have a friend whose brother is currently in med school, and it is not an easy journey and stuff. And yeah, like I really like this journey for her. It kind of makes sense. I feel like she's had these like journeys, I guess, in her life, like from when she was like a pharmaceutical rep in like Hen Begins, which we'll eventually talk about, by the way. And then like her journey to becoming like a paramedic and like a paramedic, and then now this.
Right.
Eventually she'll be like a doctor. I don't know how that'll work out, but I think that'll be like in season like 10 plus. So I don't think we have to worry about that anytime soon.
They'll figure out some way, or maybe Aisha at that point will just leave the show, which that's sad. I don't want to think about that, but
there's
we've got
a lot of options of how they can work it in. So I like the storyline. It also kind of piggybacks on the fact that she's an older adult going back to school to do medicine. Most of the people in med school are like freshly out of college and high school and stuff, so they're not her age, so I know I can relate to that a little bit, just
And
being older and considering going back to school.
Yeah. And she also has the backing that many don't have of doing medical already.
Right.
Which we have, like, I swear, when that girl, Sydney, when she said, like, medical Uber driver, I wanted to throw hands. I'm just gonna say.
Same.
Oh, that, yeah.
Like, girl, bite me. Like, no, do not say that. And this is, I used to want to be a paramedic. I might even still one day go for it, but, like, now I want to be a firefighter. But it's like, if someone called me that, like, no, that's not okay. So, right. Oh my goodness. But, just seeing the storyline was really valuable. And I'm glad so far they're taking the route that they have taken with this, this journey of hers.
Yeah. I like it. And, like, I don't know, I do like it, and it's great. And, it's, like, not what I would have expected, but I think it, like, really makes sense and stuff.
Right.
And now, currently, Hen's mom in this episode, well, Hen and I like her med school group. That's what I've been calling them because it's just easier. And so basically they're studying, and Hen's mom was, like, saying how she's going to go to a farmer's market that Karen told her about, and she'll maybe, like, pick them up, like, cookies or something, because that worked with Hen when she was a kid. And I was like, that's adorable.
I loved it.
Yeah. And then, like, she's walking at the door, or, like, trying to, and her back just, like, is, like, thrown out or something. It cracks, and I'm just like, oh no, that is not good. And she's like, oh, I'm fine, I'll just pop some ibuprofen, I'll be okay.
Right.
And, like, Ken's all worried, and, like, at first I was just like, well, she's overreacting because she's studying, and it's known that, like, med students, when they're studying things, that they are convinced that they have these things because they study so often. So that's where my mind went. Because it's like, I'm like, no, she's fine, like, it'll be okay.
Honestly, right. I wasn't actually that way. I immediately was, like, worried because in real life, that's like you might really start misdiagnosing people with something like 10 times degree worse than they have. But, like, in a show, everything happens for a reason.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, something's happening with her. And yes, Hen's a med student, but she's also a paramedic. And so it's not like she's, like, fresh into the field entirely.
Right.
And so I'm like, no, she's listening to her instincts right now, and definitely something's going on. I had no idea what was going on. Of course, we had no idea.
Oh no.
But I was like, okay, this is not going to turn out good for somebody.
Yeah, I was, like, also thinking that, like, I was like, okay, well, there's definitely more to this. Like, this isn't, like, that is something that, like, I didn't think it would be what it ended up being, but I was like, there's something wrong with this.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the first thing. And then we go to Athena's, which I love that. So we refer to as Athena's, not Athena's and Bobby's, and I just realized that.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's one of those things where, like, he moved in, so, like, technically it is their house, they are married and stuff, but it's also, okay, I'm gonna compare it to something. It's like how they always, like, in Lone Star, how we always refer to Carlos's as Carlos's, even though TK, well, now that's not a thing.
That's not even a thing.
Well, about
that kind of burned to the ground. But we did, when it was a thing, call it Carlos's because it was his. So that's how I feel about Athena's. We call it Athena's because, well, it was her house. I mean, technically it was Michael's too, but we're not going to be like Athena Michael's. So yeah, just a little funny thing.
Yeah,
that's just that's a little thing. So they were playing, like, Pictionary or some form of it. I have never played that before, but it seems fun.
I've played versions of it. I played, like, I don't know, I haven't played it since I was a kid, but I used to play the one you could play on your phone with, like, random people and stuff. But yeah, I loved, like, Michael asking where Bobby was and stuff. And then he's like, I need my partner. And David's just like, excuse me.
Right.
It was so cute. I love David. I think he's like my favorite like new addition, like
by far, I love him.
Yes.
The moment they had him in last season's, like, what was that, the finale or the second to last episode? Well, they had them in both anyway. But the moment he popped in, I'm like, oh yes, oh yes, I like where this is going. And they could have just had him and not gone anywhere with it, but they did, and I'm like, yes, love David.
Especially because I think Michael struggled a little bit with the dating scene for a few seasons. He'd had a few kind of boyfriends over the last few seasons, so I'm glad they kind of have a semi-committed, plan.
Yeah, I know.
They had the one guy, Glenn or something, and then he just suddenly like up and vanished. It's like, boy, okay.
Yeah. I remember him, and that's pretty much it. I think he was like only like, I mean, I'm sure he like dated, like, have people like date around, but like go on dates is a better word to say.
Right.
But I don't remember him having like any other like serious like relationships, I guess. But it's nice to see, and I actually like Michael quite a bit, like, and stuff.
Yeah. He's actually grown on me throughout the seasons. I didn't like him as much at first.
Oh yeah, same.
But now I do.
Yeah.
And, like, it's good to see him with a good partner and like see families like coexist and peacefully.
Exactly. Yeah. And so Athena mentions with Bobby's absence that he's having lunch with a friend. And then Bobby a couple minutes later walks in and says, yeah, he has to take a shower. And I'm like, that's suspicious. Like there's something wrong with that.
Sus.
Yeah, I was like, sus? This is sus. Like, no. What are you doing? Like, I didn't think that like he relapsed or anything, but I was like so suspicious over the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, same. It was like there's obviously like this is the thing where I was like, okay, Athena's overreacting a little bit, but also I understand her concern. And it was like I didn't think Bobby relapsed, but it was like this is like hella suspicious.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone like this occurred to me. I don't know if anyone like thought he was cheating or anything. I didn't think he was necessarily cheating or anything, but it was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't suspect like cheating or anything like that. But it was just very like odd. And yeah, I feel like Athena though always overreacts. I feel like that's just like her.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just feel like that's just like in her character. Like she overreacts over everything. And sometimes I'm like, girl, you need to chill. Like, take a drink or something. Do what you gotta do.
Right. Yeah. She I think at that moment she probably shouldn't have reacted the way she did, because I definitely think she did. She does often overreact immediately. She barks pretty quickly, I guess you could say. You know how like they say your bark's bigger than your bite? I think she barks pretty quickly.
I've never heard that.
You've never heard a bark?
You've never heard that?
What the heck? This is like another edition where you guys say things and I'm like, I've never heard that. Okay, this is, I don't know. I always like to blame it on like where I'm from. I'm like, people say weird shit here, but nobody says that. I mean, now I've heard it. So welcome to the club, Katie.
Yeah,
welcome. Yeah,
it's a fun little thing.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. Yeah, well, I mean, she has a right to be concerned. Well, especially when he went and kind of dashed off to take a shower and like didn't even really let her kiss him and hug him or anything.
And he was so quick about it. If he just strolled in and like went in, it'd still be like shower. But at the same time, it's like, boy, you can't lie to save your life. I'm sorry.
Right, I know. Something's going on.
Yeah,
like, no.
Yeah. Then we lead to Hen's mom at the market, and I was like, ooh. And I think it was the first thing she tried was like lemongrass shot, and she said something along the lines like, if I like the smell of this like draws me off, or something along the lines of that. And I was like, I don't get why people drink those little shots of like things that are supposed to be good for like your immune system and like whatever crap. I'm like, that is gross. I will vomit just drinking that. So no.
Yeah. Nah, it's like, careful. But I also relate to her in a way because I am very smell oriented.
Same.
And so it's like if something turns me off, it could taste great, and if it tastes just good enough, I might be able to do it. But in all honesty, like something could taste great, but if my throat's closing up because it smells so bad, I'm not going to be able to eat it.
Exactly. There's things we have at work that smell so bad. And I'm like, I don't get how people love this because yeah. And like, so she then she was like, she gets this one table, it's like fruit or whatever, and she's like, finally, something I recognize.
She was in such a mood, I swear.
Yeah. And then I think before that there was something that was like free of dairy, like this, that, and she's like, what is it made out of? Air? And I was like, relatable.
I've seen that as a meme before, and I'm like, yeah.
Pretty much. And then she like collapses.
Right.
Yeah.
And immediately Han meets her at the hospital, and the doctor that was like there was a complete ass. Like he hardly even looked up from the iPad he was holding. He kind of just dismissed that anything was wrong. And something Hen says later I completely agree with, which I'll wait until we get there, but I was just like, what? Like, he doesn't want to do any tests. She claims that she's fine. Okay, like, if she passed out because her heart rate and BP suddenly dropped, she's obviously not okay. That doesn't just, like, happen out of the blue. There's obviously an underlying issue. So, yeah, no.
Yeah, like, something's going on, and you need to get your head out of your butt and realize it.
Yeah. I was so mad at seeing that doctor act the way he did, and I'm in healthcare, so like we always say you have to be your own advocate or your advocate for your own family members because doctors and stuff are like, it's just
1,000%.
Yeah, it sucks that our healthcare system is like that too. Because like if I walk in, I know my body, and like if I walk into my doctor and I say, hey, this is what's wrong, and they're like, they want to like say it's everything but, like, no, I know what my body feels like when I have this. And it's like pulling teeth to get them to just like look, and then like, oh yeah, I guess you do have it. And I'm like, if you would have listened to me in the first place, we wouldn't be in this spot.
We could save a lot of trouble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I've had that situation like a few times, and I'm just like, really?
It's like, some people are hypochondriacs, some people have no idea what's going on with their own body, but listen to us because we're the ones living in our body.
Right.
You're not going to know it as we're feeling it.
Yeah.
And that's why like they have to ask all those questions to us because they don't know what we're feeling.
Yeah, and we're like, we see them maybe once every 6 months. They don't know us. Sometimes our family members might be able to figure it out better than the doctors can, and it just, so I feel bad. And I've been in Hen's situation where like, my mom was in the hospital, my dad was in the hospital recently, and it's like, they're like, well, oh, it's just this. And I'm like, no, it's not that, because that's never been an issue before. So figure it out. They're not leaving here till you guys figure out what's wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad that Hen stood up to him.
Yeah.
And stood up for her mom.
Yeah. And then we get to happier times where Eddie, Anna, and Chris are at home. And Eddie is putting like, 10 pillows on the couch. And he's like, this looks better. And Anna's like, it looks the same. That was like relatable. And we kind of knew what this was just because we saw like behind the scenes stuff before this episode aired like weeks ago. And I've been waiting for this episode for weeks.
Me too.
And Carla's back. I love Carla. Like, yes, Carla, we love you.
Yes, Queen.
Queen, yes. Oh my god.
Watch her to forever stay. Like,
And like, I love how Chris answers his door, like, I'm coming, and then like he goes to the door and he's like,
I'm like relatable.
Mood.
Wow, you're like not even as excited to see his dad as half the time. It's like, Carla.
And he'd come up with a witty comeback for that or something.
Oh yeah.
Like, I feel like that all the time.
Yeah, that's funny and stuff. And I love like when they're eating and after, like how Chris and Carla says like, "Oh yeah, I can help Eddie clean up," and Anna or Chris is like,
no!
"You're not allowed in the kitchen."
I go
like,
oh. Yeah, I was like,
okay.
what's going on?
Yeah. And then they come out with 2 cakes. Well, actually before that, Carla and Eddie were talking, and I liked the one line she said, because like she asked Eddie about how like he feels about having Anna around more and stuff like that. And the one line I love after this is like, but just make sure that you're following your heart and not Christopher's, okay? And that was the first like buddy, and I feel like it was, because like honestly, and this also after this, there was moments where like the way Eddie was looking at Chris and Anna, I was like, okay, there's something, like I don't know, like maybe I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, well, are we overlooking it? But no, this is definitely a little hint, even if it's not, it is.
Honestly, yes, I think it was like a little allusion somewhat to Buddy.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, some of the writers that are most responsible for our Buddy scenes actually wrote these episodes. So like,
probably
kudos to them. I'm pretty sure they did.
I'm sure, especially if like
sorry.
No, especially if they were like the ones that wrote, like wouldn't be surprised if it was the same one that wrote like the other ones that had like major buddy things in them.
Yeah,
that would be a major hit. But yeah.
I remember seeing that somewhere. But so yes, I think that was like our takeaway was obviously Buddy, but also at the same time, I think that was kind of a little bit of, just Carla looking out for Eddie, because Eddie's gonna do just about anything for his kid, and he doesn't strike me as somebody who thinks of himself all that much. No. And so it's like, I feel like that was another angle of it. But like, yes, Buddy. It was a valuable line either way.
Yeah, and I think Eddie's in the situation. It's been what, like 2 seasons now, pretty much, since Shannon passed away.
Yeah.
So, actually, exactly 2 seasons.
Yeah, so I feel like this is Eddie's finally starting to think about the future, and like, does he want to be a single dad for the rest of his life? Does he want to have another relationship? Obviously, they brought back Anna, and now he's kind of has to decide who he's dating for. Like, is he dating to have a mom for his son, or is he dating for him to have, a partner for the rest of his life?
And will Christopher's obvious of Anna, will that sway his decision if he winds up not, thinking this is what as turning out as good? That I think is, just something people just need to keep in mind. Like, are they doing this for them, or are they doing this for somebody else? And in this case, it was really important for Eddie to have that.
Yeah,
exactly. And then momentarily they come out with 2 cakes, and Chris is just like, "Happy birthday, Carl!" And she's like, "But my birthday was in March," and he's like, "Yeah, and we missed it twice."
I love it. Yes. Yeah.
And Eddie, your face is making me think different things, and like we just mentioned. So I'm kind of what's going on? Yeah. And then the next scene kind of breaks my heart, because Maddie's at work and all she can hear is G crying, and I'm like, oh. She's sleep deprived. And looking back at this episode specifically, this is the first sign of what's to come, and it's clear, but obviously right away it wasn't too obvious until we saw later the finale actually. But yeah,
that was I had a feeling that she was gonna have this come up, but I also seeing her struggling. That was pretty tough to watch, and I felt I feel bad, and it happens to a lot of new moms, especially she's older, she's not 25 years old, and so your body's needs more sleep. And a newborn doesn't necessarily want to sleep when you want it to sleep.
Yeah.
And apparently G is colicky, if I remember exactly what was going on.
That's
and they never sleep. They cry all the time.
Oh,
and so obviously she's just completely drained.
Yeah, it's rough. Yeah.
Yeah, like this was heartbreaking, but at the same time, it was like, yeah, let's address this because we find out later, basically, they never stated explicitly. But we find out it's postpartum depression, and like immediately I was suspecting that. But it's like, yeah, let's address that. Let's bring this to the forefront. And honestly, Jennifer Love Hewitt, she did such a good job acting that out.
Yeah, I think it helps that she's also a mother
and
stuff, because because she knows the struggles and stuff, and not to say that she's experienced all these things. I'm not going to speak and say that she has, but I have no idea. But she is a mother, so she this is natural for her. She's gone through motherhood, pregnancy, the after stuff, and so she knows.
Right. And postpartum depression happens a lot, and some women it doesn't affect as much as it affects others, but most go through some form of it.
It can go through it can vary from minor depression, minor sadness, but some people die because of it. Self-inflicted die. So it's it's not the same for everybody, and so they're not going to always see it, but
thankfully she's got Chim and she's not going through it alone.
Which we'll get to. So other mothers, she gets Maddie gets this call about a mother stuck in a fire escape and stuff. So they respond to it and they basically have to pull her out or whatever. And then she doesn't want to go to the hospital because she has a sick kid and stuff. So Eddie just offers to watch the kid and stuff, which was fun. We'll get to.
But that was perfect though.
And there's I never suspected what more things that come from this, but it was definitely, there came to a point where you're just okay.
Yeah.
And then after this, Athena finds Bobby's clothes from the other day and they smell like bourbon, and she tells Michael about it. She's like, they smell like bourbon. And Michael, I love how Michael literally went to went to bat for Bobby. He defended him. Not that Athena was being she did kind of suspect that he could have relapsed, but she didn't accuse him of necessarily relapsing.
Said, I don't know.
Yeah, and he was like, well, Bobby's been sober for a couple of years. This is not like him, blah, blah, blah. And Athena kind of mentions, well, I don't know the old Bobby and stuff, the one that lost everything or something like that. And she says how he's been distant, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but okay.
Right.
Yeah, tricky.
Yeah. And then back to the Eddie staying with Charlie, the kid, and he has Chris and Carla on the phone, and I think it's funny how the kid mentions, Charlie mentions how Eddie cooked or something, and Chris is like, are you sure you didn't get to take out? And Carla's like, I was thinking the same thing.
And he was like, hey. But
it's funny that they mentioned that Eddie doesn't cook, because I remember in season 2 when Maddie first showed up, that Buck was cooking eggs because the only thing he knew how to cook because Bobby taught him.
Right.
And it makes me crack up. I'm I don't know if Eddie's that bad. Can you have him cook on the show so we know?
Yeah.
That'd be
but
funny.
Seeing as Chris says that and he lives with Eddie, it's
we'll see about that.
I advocate that we get that.
Please. Eddie cooking season 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and then the mom comes back and she's being super sus. She's like, about Eddie cooking for Charlie, saying he has a sensitive stomach. And I'm thinking, okay, something is not right about the situation.
Right.
And I didn't really think of anything that, like, the controlling part of anything. Which, why would I think that? That's crazy. But it's happened, it's obviously happened before, so it's not completely out of there. But it was like just so awful why she was so like defensive about him cooking. Like,
right.
It was definitely extreme and a little worrying. Like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah, right. Especially looking back after watching the episode a couple times, I'm like, okay, this, like, watching it, I'm like, okay, this is like super off. And like, like, this is, it was just like so many things.
Yeah.
And then my favorite, well, not my favorite, but this is like a part that this makes a lot of sense to me. But Hannah's talking to her mom until she like hangs up on her, and stuff. And then Chimney walks in kind of in the middle, and about how the doctor might have helped them if he looked more like them. And I believe that 1,000%. I forget what it was, but I read this book like years ago. I think it was a book at least, where a black man went into the ER with heart attack symptoms, and he died because they didn't like treat him. I don't remember if it was they didn't treat him as fast or if they just didn't take his symptoms like seriously. But it's a problem when women even go into the ER with heart attack symptoms because they try to take the symptoms of a man and put it on a woman, and they're completely different.
Yeah, for women, heart attacks don't show up as that at all usually. They usually don't have the same. So it's easy to misdiagnose, which can cause, damage or danger or worse.
Yeah.
It's reckless and it's worrisome, and it's like people need to just like, I don't know, start practicing the professions right.
Right.
That would be a good start.
Yeah, and this, obviously they made it seem like the doctor was busy and the doctor was this, but I'm like, I'm sorry, you're there to treat patients, and if you can't do your job, you don't need to have that job.
Yeah, he was
regardless of who she is, what they look like, how they act.
He was also older, so if he was racist, I would not be surprised. That's all I'm going to say about that, because like,
or he was just a racist against women, because I know a lot of male doctors often don't want to listen to a female patient.
Yeah, especially since Hen was advocating for her mom, and he kind of, in the beginning of the episode, he kind of like told her to lay off WebMD, but he doesn't know that she's a paramedic until like they come into the hospital again after this all unravels and stuff, and like he's like dismissing everything. And I like Chimney being like, well, you just need some brilliant medical minds to balance medical diagnosis off of, and Hen's like, you know of any? And he's like, I think you do.
I was thinking he'd suggest himself, so I loved that.
Honestly, like I'm honestly surprised. It would have been a little funny, but like, oh no, they need like other brilliant minds. Sorry, Chimney, but I love how like so she gets together with med school friends and they're trying to figure out different symptoms, and I loved at the point where they say like smoker, and Hen's mom is like, I haven't had a cigarette since before Henrietta was born, and I was like and they're like, still goes in the history, and I'm like, that's kind of funny.
Didn't they like narrow it down as like some oddball disease that like isn't in the area or something like that?
I don't remember. They narrowed it down to so many ridiculous things, and it was like,
okay. They had like a lot of like different ones, and I was just like, then they're like, nope, it's none of these. Maybe it is nothing. Hans' mom was like, I told you there was nothing wrong with me, and then she collapses once again, and Hen kind of like figures it out. She's like, she has a fever, this, and she's like, cardiac, abdominal, aortic aneurysm, and I was like, damn. Yeah, you figured it out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh, it was. Oh, that was like it was an entertaining scene. Then it turned out to be like, oh my gosh, what's happening now?
Right.
Yeah, roller coaster of a scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we go
So,
into another roller coaster of a scene.
oh yeah, she's crying, and
Mm.
this also you can tell with Maddie's face. Maddie's like in the nursery of her, and she just picks her up as soon as Chimney walks in, and she looks terrible. Like let's just be,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like, Chimney, why are you being so oblivious? He's like acting like things are normal. Like
Right.
look at her. Nothing about this is like I don't want to say nothing about this is normal because like shit like this happens, but he's acting like everything's okay,
None
like
of this
Mm-hmm.
looks like
something
a
is
happy
going
hate,
on.
like a happy mother and child. I'm just gonna say that. Like,
Right. Right.
I have no idea how he completely missed on things. And
Seriously.
I think he was like briefly concerned during the scene, if I remember correctly, but like I don't know. It's just like a boy catch on a little sooner.
Yeah. Well, I
Literally.
He
don't
didn't
think
catch
he was.
on to like next episode.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he was expecting. Okay. In his defense, he was coming home from work, so he was probably had turned off like first responder mode. So like he go home, and he probably wasn't expecting to have to like diagnose her. So he probably wasn't thinking. He thought she was just tired, which could be, but she was definitely not just tired.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
I don't even think it has to do with first responder mode. I think any like person that's not in the medical field, not a first responder, I think even they would suspect something is wrong. Maybe they wouldn't pick out a diagnosis because let's be real, that wouldn't really happen. But they would know that something is up and not that like everything is a-okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
So, unsure how they made that happen, but it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. So then at the hospital, they like go there, whatever, and like they like kind of give like they bring Hen's mom to surgery and stuff. I'll just say that. And then like the doctor's talking to Hen and being like, oh yeah, like it's this, and Hen kind of goes off on the doctor and stuff, which good for her because that
Mm-hmm.
needed to be done. Because just imagine if like he made this mistake again. And I hope
Right.
it just in general that like doctors like this after situations like this they learn the lesson because that is not okay.
Right.
If only it was that easy, though. Like, it's never that easy.
It's not. It'll
Mm-hmm.
happen again. Let's be real. If in situations like this, but like you only can hope.
Yeah.
And then Eddie and Chris gather toys for Charlie.
How was
And
that so cute,
yeah,
I
though?
know.
there
I
was
was
this
like,
one
oh.
scene where this one line with Chris where he was like, "Oh, can I give him video games or something?" And Eddie's like, "I didn't see a TV while I was there." And Chris is like, "You're right, he does need our help."
I was almost on the floor.
I
Like, I was
know, right?
laughing so freaking hard because it's like, I'm guilty of it too. And it's like, oh, that's relatable. And oh my gosh, what has happened to society?
It was so funny. And then like Anna kind of pulls Eddie away and points out that they have because like the reason why the mom and Charlie are able to because Eddie previously asked what she does for work and Charlie said, "Oh, she doesn't work. We're lucky enough to get like money from FundMe pages," and Anna points out that the FundMe pages are scams because they
Mm-hmm.
have their names in several different like cities like
And different names, like
Yeah.
same general first names,
yes.
but
Yeah.
like changing it, and it was so obviously fishy.
Yeah.
And I was sitting here like, good detective work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they literally you're obviously gonna get caught if you freaking just keep your first name and then change last
Right.
names. Like how stupid are you? Eh,
Fortunately, Plenty are.
Yeah, of course. Most people that are scammers are not smart. Let's just be real. But I love Carla was like, well, what did Charlie's mom say his illness was? And Eddie's like, some sort of autoimmune. Carla's like, well, that's oddly vague.
Right, I know, there's so many.
Like, I don't know, but like, oh yeah, Carla, you're saying how it is, which, you know, I relate to that. That's usually how I am.
But that's big.
Yeah. Okay, so this is when next Athena, like, they kind of try to talk and Athena tries to like understand and they try to talk, but he kind of like blows because she was like, oh well, maybe I should come to a meeting with you, and he's like, oh, I don't have a meeting tomorrow, so like sus. And he's like, but you can come to the one on Saturday, and I'm like, okay, no, this is like, there is a reason, because there obviously was a meeting tomorrow. He just didn't want her to be there, which at the end of the episode we find out why.
Yeah.
But this is another reason why I'm like, something is up.
Right.
Yeah, it was like, geez, dude, like,
yeah. And then we kind of briefly mentioned this, but this is like kind of the after part, after surgery of Hen's mom. And I really like this scene with for them and stuff, like how Hen's mom is fine after surgery, and I like how her mom said she was grateful, and Hen says, yeah, the surgeon did a good job, and she's like, but that's not the doctor I'm grateful for. You saved my life. And she's like, oh. And she's like, well, the truth is I got used to you being around, so I'm not ready to just let go yet. And I'm like, oh.
I love it. Like, yay.
And then Eddie came in early and at fucking Chimney walking like after, and they're like, you're here early. And this is when Eddie was like, yeah, do you remember the mom, Charlie's mom? Yeah, she's poisoning with eye drops. And like, they're like, munch, however the hell you say that, Munchausen by proxy. And like Chimney's like, that's a big claim, and he's like, well, it makes sense, like, and stuff. And
well, yeah, because Eddie had found a cabinet full of the eye drops and wondered if, you know, didn't think much of it at the time, but then after they did some research,
it was so many that were, when I watched it again, because the first time or the first few times I watched it, I wasn't really paying attention, so I didn't really notice them. But when I watched it like recently, I was like, okay, that's a lot of eye drops. Even if you buy them in bulk, that is too much for just it being buying in bulk.
Because they do eventually expire.
Why would you want that many eye drops at a time? That's the thing.
Right.
Like, I don't care if you use eye drops like 10 times a day. You're not going to want that many.
Right.
And then Eddie gets a call from the kid, and he had given the mom eye drops, so way more than he was ever diagnosed, because she would like drop like probably a drop in his cereal, and over time he got sicker, where he gave her a bunch, and I think she was like seizing or something, or and overdosing and stuff. Not good.
Yeah. And like, honestly, I couldn't blame him, because like, he didn't know what was happening. He just wanted to like show her like how it felt, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think it was like, also I don't think it was like he was trying to show her like how it felt. I think he thought that was normal and that like it was a good thing, and he didn't think that it would hurt her.
If I remember the dialogue correctly, it was basically like, she thinks I don't see her, like, put them in, but I do, and I wanted to like, basically like I wanted to, you know, not show her, I'm not coming up with the direct dialogue, but basically like give them to her for once.
Yeah, I can't, but the vibe I got when I watched it was that the kid, something that Eddie had asked him had like piqued the kid's interest, and the kid had kind of known about it, but he'd passed it off, and then I think he started putting some pieces together. Is the vibe I got, and that the kid was kind of trying to like hurt his mom because he realized that she'd been doing it to him or something like that.
I don't think the kid was actually trying to hurt the mom. I think he knew it was hurting him, so he wanted to make her hurt the way he did, but he didn't know it actually hurt her.
Yeah,
Right.
I also think it was...
we all have different interpretations.
Which is totally fine.
Right.
Yeah, I also think it was majorly like curiosity, because like if you think about it, if you saw your mom do that for years, I think you would do the same thing. Like, because you'd be like, what is this? What does it do?
Right.
Or like, I don't know, just that.
I think we're all a little bit right, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honestly, same. Like, yeah. Then this is when Athena follows Bobby and sees that he is at a meeting and he's talking to this woman, and it's the woman from the pile up, the drunk driver and
Was
stuff.
it? I never actually knew that.
You didn't?
Oh,
I didn't know that. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was what caused the big blow up.
I honestly
part of it
through it.
Because
I knew they fought and I didn't want to watch them fight, so I didn't watch them fight.
Oh yeah, because Athena she followed him and then she saw him outside talking to her, and Athena had made a comment at the first time of the accident about about the woman and being stupid or something like that, which Bobby I think got the hint that she wasn't gonna be supportive of him trying to help this woman, but Bobby understood where she was at because he knew his drinking was what affected losing his family.
Honestly, I kind of think it's good of Bobby. Like, in the moment at the incident, I was like, bad woman, hate her, but he's gone through similar struggles, and I think you have to like help people that need help. Like, she needs rehabilitation. He's like the perfect person to help her and stuff.
Yeah. And I just can't believe I never knew that. Oh my god.
That's crazy. Oh my god. Yeah. Yep, that was definitely that.
And I think at one point that panned down and you could see the ankle monitor.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that. Yeah, so she's definitely like in some sort of program. I almost think that this is probably the scenario where she's like getting treatment and stuff, and then after she might go to jail. I don't know. We're never gonna really find out, but that's just what I think in my brain and stuff.
Or maybe she's on some sort of probation, provided that she gets help.
Yeah.
That could be it.
Yeah, it could be so many different things, let's be real.
Yeah.
But then we get one of the best. Buddy. So Buck and Eddie race to Charlie's apartment, like where they live, and in the battalion car, and it's funny because the fire chief was like, Buckley, did you get promoted to captain when I wasn't looking? And he's like, only vehicle available. And then like he asked like, Diaz, do you call this one in? He's like, yeah, possible OD. It was just like a whole like, it was kind of, oh my god, this just occurred to my mind. But okay, not only is Buck stolen a fire truck twice, but now he's stolen like basically like a captain's vehicle.
Oh my gosh.
You know?
Oh no.
Not me thinking, oh TK, it's your turn.
Oh no. Not wrong, but oh
no. This is how my brain works. Especially
I think
now.
Carlos will be very unhappy.
Poppy would not be happy.
Poppy!
Carlos has to arrest TK again.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Oh my god.
So, take a note.
Fan fiction.
Yeah.
Credit yours truly if you read it. This is when Athena confronts Bobby about him talking to the woman from the pileup. And I mean, I feel like their argument was only inevitable, not just like this specific about the drunk driver woman, but I feel like they've almost had a quote unquote perfect relationship for their pretty much whole relationship, and not even just their marriage, but just a relationship. I feel like we haven't really seen them fight or argue, I should say, because it wasn't really a fight. I consider those different and stuff. Like, So I feel like this was kind of like, it had to happen eventually, and honestly, I would have been, I don't know, I liked that it happened, not to say that I wanted them to fight, but
Yeah.
Well, no relationship is perfect. There's
that's what I mean.
Expected to be, some bumps in the road.
Yeah, everyone argues, like, so it kind of makes them seem like too perfect if they had never argued ever.
Right.
So I like that it actually happened. And 100 years later, we're at the end of of episode 13. And as we all know, Eddie gets shot. And this is yeah, we all screamed. Okay, I think when I watched this the first time, I screamed and was like, no, this is not happening. And this is the moment where we all kind of had this consensus. We're like, okay, if Eddie dies, we will not be watching anymore. We will this will be the last episode of our talks about 911. Which we all know by now, since the episode was like a month and a half ago, that we know that Eddie survives. So yay. But Buck's face. Well, first of all, when Eddie gets shot, the blood splatters on Buck's face.
Buck is standing right in front of him.
Oh my gosh. The slow-mo, the silence, like when they're watching Eddie collapse and then him like very slowly fall into like semi-consciousness, unconsciousness, that kind of thing. It's like, I just kept
and the fire captain grabbing Buck and like pushing him against the truck, and it's like, oh my
because
God.
Obviously Buck was not functioning to do anything else.
Oh my God, I can only imagine what was going through his brain.
Yeah, like I think initially he was in, like, obviously I think right away he was in shock, because I think this is probably the most traumatic thing he's experienced being on the job this far.
Yeah, I mean, other than everything that's happened to him.
Yeah.
But I think watching anything else happen to anybody else, like, this is probably the worst thing he's watched happen.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's his best friend, like, love interest, we think, but
love interest, we think.
We think
which this goes right into 14, and I like how 13, the end, it kind of is silence, but 14 you actually hear like the audio of what was going on, so it gives two different perspectives, two different views and stuff. Which that's awesome. And like I love like Buck's reaction kind of reminds me of the episode where and Eddie Begins, when Buck's freaking out when Eddie's in the well.
Oh yeah.
And, like, Eddie.
Right.
Yeah.
We will talk about that
eventually
long when we hit the Begins episodes.
Yes.
Wait, y'all.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be the best. Okay, it's so far from happening, but it's gonna be the best. Let's be real. But yeah, Buck pulls Eddie from under the truck to shelter, and like this whole scene, like just thinking about it right now, I want to cry. Like it's just like I watched it a couple hours ago, and like it still like gives me like chills. And like this whole first couple minutes of the episode are so like amazing, and like just the whole action part of it, like they get him into the truck, and when they speed off, the door like comes up because they backed into the battalion car, and you can see like fire almost hit them in the
box. They got a scratch on it. Bobby's gonna kill Buck.
It was the 130, so they're good.
Okay.
It was in the 118 truck, because the 118 truck was out on another call, because this was like they got to work early, so they were still out. But yeah, it was like, I think it was the 130, I believe. I love like when they get him in the truck and Buck saying to Eddie, "You're okay," or Buck saying to Eddie, "You're okay, just stay with me, I got you." And Eddie was like, "Are you hurt?" Like, man is shot. And he asks if he's okay. Okay,
that is his he sees all the blood dad's side. That is his medic side. That is his secretly in love with Buck side. That is his
oh my God, that side. Oh.
Buddy haters are gonna hate us.
Suck it, guys.
Suck it. Yeah, exactly. And he's like, Buck's just like, no, I'm good. Oh,
like, no, it's yours. Oh.
You know, and, like the fact that Eddie asked that, I was like, ah, that's love, okay?
Yeah. I'm like, ah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Athena and Bobby are still in the argument they were previously having. And Athena's like, where are you going? He's like, to work. I'm late. And then Hen calls him and says how Eddie was shot. And like, Athena hears
Okay,
it.
what I'm sorry, I gotta butt in here because this is when it happens. Just now. I was mad we didn't get the scene that they showed in the promo about Hen and Chim hearing over the radio.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
We never got that, and I was so mad.
Why did they cut that? I mean, we got a lot of buddy stuff, so I guess I'm not too mad, but I feel like it would have been good to get like
the rest of the team.
Well, here's the thing, and maybe I'm being, I don't know, a little bit of a asshole about it or something, but if this had been Buck, I feel like we would have gotten it.
Probably.
But we didn't, and you know, it's not that big a deal. I'm just bummed we didn't get it, and I do feel like if it had been Buck, they would have shown everybody and their freaking grandmother's reaction to it.
Yeah.
But you know, it's, as I said, it's not that big a deal. But I was disappointed that they cut the scene, especially since they showed it in the promo.
You know what scene they could have cut? I'm gonna be real petty for a second. Half of the Taylor scenes.
Yes.
They could have cut the whole them getting together thing. Like they could have, that's fine.
That's fine with me.
Taylor fans are gonna hate us. Oh well, this is how it is.
Okay, guys,
it should be all about Buddy.
Taylor fans, let's be clear. I don't mind Taylor herself. Chip, hell no.
No,
and that's all
I don't mind Taylor. I don't. She's not for Buck.
Yeah,
she's grown on me since season 2. She was a B.
Yes.
Bitch. I will say it.
I won't. She's grown on me, but no, I don't think she and Buck should even try a relationship. That's just where I'm gonna leave it.
Promote
and we can like further address that when we get to that scene.
But... Yeah. I just wanted to put that out there. Yeah, so Athena hears like the calls, so obviously like we know why things later happen. But anyways, Eddie gets to the hospital. They get him to the hospital. I mentioned it's a large caliber. He was shot in his upper torso. And it was a sniper. And like the doctors were like, "Did you just say large caliber?" And they're like, "Yeah, it was a sniper."
Yeah. And because like that's a specific type of gun. Right. Like, that's not something you just randomly get shot with.
Yeah, exactly. And then the fire chief guy, Mata, whatever the hell I didn't know how you say it.
I think it said Mata, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't remember when they said it, but it doesn't matter. Asked Buck if he's okay, and in this moment, I'm like, do you think he's okay? Like, what?
He's sitting there again. Let's put somebody like the love of his life just got shot. He did. Oh gosh, this is not an episode for buddy haters. Sorry, guys.
This is a buddy episode. Let's be real.
It is.
So much. Okay, like. But anyway.
Yeah. Like literally, I'm like, do you think he's okay? Like, why? What do you think?
Right. If anything, he literally just watched his best friend get shot in front of him. I mean, of course he's not okay. He's numb. He's like in shock.
Even if they weren't close, if somebody in your station got shot, you would not be okay. If you experienced somebody getting shot, you would not be okay. Like, I don't care who you are. And then I didn't realize this until I watched this episode like a couple times, but a couple minutes later, Buck kind of whispers like, no. And like he is like not okay, like he is shaking, and I was like, oh, poor man.
Yeah, like
oh, like he is like clearly in shock.
The boy is not okay.
He is not.
Like,
no.
He just kind of looks like he has no idea what just happened, and now he can't do anything. Like it's out of his hands. He's just looking there, like, huh? What? Why?
Right. And then I also briefly got like a thought of like at the very first episode of the series when he was trying to go in with the baby and Bobby stopped him at the doors, and like so Buck doesn't go in. Plus, there's COVID protocols, so really he can't go into the ER.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just felt he seemed very, very lost.
He feels like hopeless and hopeless. Like he just doesn't know what to do with himself. And you know, it was a very personal thing for him. And so, you know, when a personal thing happens, it's like, yeah.
So like the first time I watched this, like the whole episode I was on the edge of my seat to the point where like I was just trying to figure out like what happened, if Eddie was okay, mainly so I could text you guys, be like, hey, Eddie survived, because Grace is like,
oh, that's right, yeah,
if Eddie survives, let me know. If Eddie dies, let me
yes,
know.
I was like, I want no surprises. Tell me.
Oh, that's right. Yep, I remember. Because neither one of us could watch it on live. That's right.
Yeah, and you were going to. I was like, let me know the minute. But also, I remember you watched it like all the way through until it ended, and then told just in case they were going to pull something.
I knew that there was a chance they could pull something, so I was like, I'm not telling you guys until I watch the whole thing because I know that they might pull something. I know how it works.
Yeah, we know what they get their kicks on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
they would
torturing us.
Yeah, it's just the most torture ever. But yeah.
That was so aggressive. What the hell?
It's so true. Then Athena goes to like the scene to try and assist. And she kind of mentions the detective because they were kind of like, why are you here kind of vibe. And Athena mentions that it was her husband's like station. The man that got shot was like one of his, and they kind of were like, oh yeah, you can help. Like not immediately, but like after a couple of minutes, they're like, oh yeah, sure. Yeah, and the next scene, Buck's like still outside the hospital, and Taylor spots him, and Buck's just like, oh no comment, Taylor. And I'm like, I don't know if it's just me, but like I feel like his accent came through in this moment. Like I've seen this so many times, and like it did a little bit.
Honestly, I've never noticed. It could have though.
It just, I don't know if it was just like an editing error or something, but it definitely did, and it wouldn't be the first time this has happened.
No.
It was just like a little quirk, and I was like,
no, I think I know what you mean, because I've there's times I can hear a word said a certain way, and I'm like, yeah, that's Oliver's accent. That's not.
Yeah.
Oliver does really well with his American accent, but there are times
he's still British.
He does have things come through.
It happens.
He's still British. That's just who he is, and he's not going to get everything in an American accent.
Yeah, and it's not too noticeable, but I definitely noticed it.
I didn't notice it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it's just funny. Yeah, and Taylor's just like, oh, that's not why I am here. I'm not working this one. And like I feel bad for Buck because he's like shaking, and she kind of thinks, she's like, oh, like why is there blood? And she kind of mentions it was Eddie was shot, and she's like, oh, it was Eddie. And I was just like this is the wrong moment for her to come in. I'm sorry, but it is. Like I get it, like they're trying to like prove a point, but like
making a point, stop trying to prove it.
Like, I don't know. I feel like I could have gone without this scene. I feel like it was important to show that Buck is struggling because he was obviously physically shaking. But there were some cases where I was just like, I could have gone without seeing this.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Maddie and Jim were like talking on the phone about like Eddie. And like Maddie was kind of relieved because she didn't hear anything from Buck. So she kind of thought maybe like it could have been him or something. And then like Maddie sees on the news that like another firefighter was shot, and they originally think that it was Eddie, and then like Maddie mentioned something about a car accident, and Chimney was like, well, it wasn't a car accident. And then they realized it was another firefighter, and this was like an intentional thing, which is kind of like what Athena and the detective figured out at the same moment because they were kind of scoping it out and seeing like where they could have shot from, and like obviously if it's like a rooftop, it's very easy.
Yeah, like that's prime spot to go shoot from.
Yeah, like typically, in these like when I've seen this in shows, that's like usually how it goes. So I wasn't really surprised at anything like that.
Yeah. This whole episode game like made me very satisfied to see people pulling through for Eddie though.
Yes.
It was like, thank you, finally.
Yes.
Let's not have this be the last time.
Yeah.
Someone other than Buck is hurt for the next 5 seasons.
Yeah.
So that's me being very passive aggressive. Don't
be hurting our main men.
Yeah, let's we gotta hurt somebody, but can we like shake up the dice a little bit?
Okay, Chimney's been hurt. Buck has been hurt several times. Eddie's also been hurt a couple times because that counts.
But they never did anything on that. I was so mad. Like they didn't show anything after.
Even Albert got hurt this season.
Albert, okay.
Albert, yeah. So we're missing Hen and Bobby.
Okay, maybe it needs to be like, okay, actually, most of the cast has been hurt, besides like, Hen.
Yeah.
Crossover Lone Star.
True. Okay, so Bobby.
He's been hurt a couple times. Not like.
True. Not dress. We're talking about the show-stopping injuries that usually get dished out to Buck and Eddie might get graced with sometimes. Okay, that is what we are talking about.
Can Hen get hurt? Because this is so evil.
I would like to see an upset Tracy Towns. I mean, like
that's what I mean.
Karen.
Yeah. Okay, she needs to like not be on other shows and just be on 911. Okay, thank you.
Yes. We love Tracy Towns.
Anyways, Hen, Chimney, and Albert are outside
I just had a rather horrible thought.
Oh, God,
horrible, but like, oh my god. I was like, what if something happens to Carla? I kind of want worried Dia's family.
No.
Not anything permanent, I swear, but like I want worried Dia's family.
All right,
oh my god, I'm so horrible.
I've been for like most of the season. That's enough.
Okay, I'm horrible.
No, you're not. But like, why are you gonna hurt my heart like that? Anyways, let's move on from hurting people.
Before we get
to more hurting
any
people.
ideas.
So next, Hen, Chimney, and Albert are outside the hospital like at night. And like they're talking about the whole situation, and Albert's like, I don't understand. Who would want to shoot a firefighter? Does this happen a lot?
Does this happen a lot in 911 OG? Yeah. I mean,
in 911 Lone Star?
Yeah.
Does that count? Just kidding.
I just like obviously we do not want this to happen, but how are the firefighters being shot more than the cops?
Carlos says, well, maybe he has been shot, but we just haven't seen it.
Well, I'm sure Athena has too, but we ain't seen that.
Dang, she got hurt last season though.
She wasn't shot though.
True.
What happened to the whole gun? Why are the guns being pointed at the firefighters and literally cops who you'd expect to get shot are being hurt literally any other way except that?
Probably because like if a firefighter is shot, you don't expect it. Where you expect cops to be shot.
I guess they're trying to shake it up a little bit, but also let's
maybe that's too much.
Yeah, okay. So then Chim is like, it's definitely not an everyday occurrence, but there have been instances where a company responded to a scene and some started shooting at them, and hence like never heard of shots fired at multiple scenes on the same day. Kind of a wish I wasn't hearing about it right now. And then like
relatable.
Yeah, a little relatable. And then she drops her phone. Albert catches like good reflex, and Hen's like, oh, looks like you got your hand-eye coordination back and stuff. And he's like, yeah, fully healed and stuff. And so in the scene when I watch it after I've watched it a couple times, the stuff that happens on the end of the episode makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know if it was intentional, but like I got a vibe.
Me too.
Oh, okay. Like we're talking about Albert becoming a firefighter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we just take a moment and
where
look
this
at
is
how
going.
he grew his sudden inspiration to be a firefighter after one got shot, two got shot.
I don't think it was that. Like, I feel like a lot of people, like, after they go through traumatic experiences, like being saved in whatever sense it is, but for Albert, it was a car accident.
I get that, but at
yeah,
the
I
same time,
know.
the timing, it's just like, so you want to be shot at?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know, but like, I don't know. I just, anyways.
I'm sorry,
Then,
that's just one thing that's occurred to me multiple times.
oh no, yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
But then Albert asks where Buck is, and Chimney says he's got a harder job tonight, and
So hard.
Yeah, okay, guys, you're all great.
Fast forward to Buck checking in on Chris, and this whole scene, it's
okay. We're just whimpering like puppies here because this was so freaking.
This is like one of the top scenes of the episode, like
of the season, just period. Like,
okay, one of the top Buck Chris, if not the top Buck Chris scenes.
Yes.
And from how it was teased in promos, like
they shaped it up to try and look like Eddie was dying. I wasn't buying it, but I was also like, if they're even telling the truth.
Yeah.
They also screwed themselves over because in one promo they put he's not coming home, and then the next one they put he's not coming home tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or actually, I think it was flip-flop, but it really doesn't matter.
Well, they put he's not coming home. And then they put he's not coming home tonight. And so that's what made me, like, start doubting. Like, I already didn't fully think they were going to kill him. But when they did that, I was like, okay. Somebody did get the memo for one thing. And also, like, nah, there's inconsistencies here.
I'm just gonna say this right now, like us, is an Eddie Diaz protection squad.
Oh, yes, we need a shirt.
Yes,
oh my god, I was just thinking, yeah, we need to put that on a shirt.
And have no one know what we mean except 911 fans.
Yes. Oh my god, yes. Oh my god.
Okay,
it's so
let's make that. Let's Eddie Diaz protection squad. Let's go. Okay.
Yes. Oh my god, this whole scene is like so hard not to be like, let's quote this whole thing. So cute, and like just everything, and like Chris asking where Eddie is, and Buck's like, he's not coming home tonight, Chris. And Chris is just like, why not? And he's like, well, he got hurt at work today. And Chris is like, in a fire? He's like, no, not a fire. The truth is someone hurt your dad. And he's like, on purpose? He's like, yeah, I think so. And he's like, a bad guy? And he's like, And Buck is trying to keep it together. Like,
he's so not keeping it together, but he's trying. I'm like, baby.
He's trying so hard. And like, Chris is like asking if he's gonna be okay, and he's like telling Chris how his dad is like tough and stuff, and how he's with the doctors now. And Chris is like the ones that fixed you. And he's like, like the ones that fixed me. And then Chris says, then he's gonna be okay, right? And Buck gets like a text from Bobby. It says like, out of surgery, doctor said it went well. And Buck, this is like, oh yeah, I think so, buddy. Like, he's gonna be okay. And then Buck breaks down after that. And I'm just like, I can't believe him. But the best part was when Chris is like, it's gonna be okay, Buck. And I was like, I'm gonna cry. I cried at this moment. Like, okay, I had already cried probably like 5 times the first time I watched those. And the way Chris puts his arm around Buck and comforts him, and I'm like, fuck my heart.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap. Like, it's like, it was everything. Like, the way Chris is there. Okay, they are like besties. Like, there's no question about it. Like, I don't care age. Second thing is me being like, well, that's his like son. Like,
yes.
I'm sorry, but like, I'm gonna
sorry, not sorry.
Exactly. I'm not extra sorry. Just kidding. Takes
Just
back.
kidding. I'm just like unapologetically Buddy, and it's like carry on.
Yeah, I would just like to be known before we started being friends. I liked Buddy, but I was not like this crazy. But since knowing you guys, I'm now Buddy crazy.
Oh, we transferred you.
Sort of, yeah.
Oh,
Pretty much. Um, yeah. And then like at the call center, they say how they have like limited resources, and LAFD has to wear bulletproof vests and stuff. And I'm just like, I think I may have seen this in another show. I can't really pinpoint what, but I've definitely seen something similar to this. I just can't remember what it was. But this was, I mean, I wasn't really worried about anybody else getting shot because I'm like, oh, they won't shoot multiple people in one episode, like major people. But it's definitely scary.
yeah.
Oh my god, I just saw the next scene, how like amazing that was too. When well it kind of I hate how they like split these up because then like it just takes away from the whole thing, but we'll get there. But basically Chris wakes up Buck and he's like, Buck, Buck. And then of course they had to split it, so we'll get there. We'll get there. It's literally not too far away.
Yeah.
But Bobby goes home to Athena, and this is where they kind of both apologize. Like Athena was going to first, and then Bobby's like, "No, I'm sorry," and they kind of like patch things up. And like they also finally address, like she finally kind of addresses her attack and how they never talked about it, which I think was good. I mean, it's a finale, it's about damn time.
Right.
And I think she needed time and stuff, and like I don't blame her, and I don't blame that they like waited the whole season for this to unravel, but it was like I'm glad that they addressed it at all because it would have been kind of dumb if they didn't.
Right.
Yeah. But back to better things. Fucking Chris. Okay. It's like literally like it's kind of one of those moments like killing me. I'm like, I need this. But dad vibes, like not even dad vibes, like bonus dad vibes. Cause I'm not gonna discount Eddie. Sorry, Eddie, you're kind of like unconscious at the moment. We don't know what's going on with you, so we're just gonna go with
Love you, baby.
bonus
Lots of
dad.
kisses, but we're going to ignore you right now.
Yeah. Literally. So Carla comes in, she's like, good morning. She's like, oh, we're still in our pajamas. School starts in 20 minutes, and Book is like, sorry, that's my fault. Slept through her alarm. Carla's like, oh no, that's good. That means you're getting some sleep. And this is my favorite line, and I mentioned it so much, not only when we talk, but just in general, where I'm like, it's like Chris is like, Buck snores loud.
I was like,
I love that point.
Funniest line of the season. Like that's a big claim, but it deserves a big claim.
Yeah.
I can't even do it justice, but I tried my best.
I'm like, and I love Carla's response. Like, well, that's also good to know.
Yeah, and Buck's like,
Carla, love her, love that girl. Like seriously.
Yeah, I love Carla.
And Buck's like, okay, I think it's time someone gets ready for school. And then Chris is like, I'll go, but I'm gonna need a nap later because of all the snoring.
And Buck's like, yes, okay.
Yes, okay, child, I get it.
Can we take a moment for Christopher Diaz and acknowledge how much his character has grown over the last seasons? Like, since he first came on to now. Like, he was always a character, but damn, he's getting sassy.
Not just Christopher, Gavin, like, oh, yes.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I stand. Yeah, and I love when, like, when Chris walks away and Carla's like, he seems to be doing okay. And he's like, Buck's like asking if he thinks he understands. And I like how Carla's like, the boy's already lost his mother. I think he understands more than we'd like him to.
Unfortunate reality, but yeah.
Yes. And like Carla's like, now how about you? I mean, how's it being back there? And Buck's like, it's weird, the team feels off while Eddie and Carlos like
okay, I squealed because Buddy.
Yeah, not what I was asking. I'm really worried about you being out there. He's like, I'm fine. I'm not the one that gets shot. And you can tell that like I feel like Buck, like I know this isn't the same thing, but this is what I'm gonna compare it to. Like Buck kind of has like survivor's guilt, because honestly, in the moment, we don't know if Eddie's gonna survive or not and stuff. And also, like I also like forget about how much Carla has been through Buck with. Like she was there with obviously Abby, and now she's there with Eddie, and like how much of a family she is, because she's known him through like all of that.
Yeah, like
just,
she gets Evan Buckley.
Yeah, like
she gets how he works, and she, I think it's basically he's part of the Diaz family is probably part of like her family at this point, and Buck's part of the Diaz family. So, like, yeah, but like it's family through Buck, so
Yeah, like literally. And then the next call, which some of these things don't really surprise me, of course, but this guy gets like pinned on a crane, and they're trying to figure out how they're gonna get up there, but also the point is that they don't have like their police person, like
they
their
don't have their escort, they don't have their
squad. So and he's not gonna be there for 10 minutes, and this guy don't have 10 minutes. And so, of course, Buck bees Buck, and Buck being Buck goes up there, and Chim's like to Cap, like, can you blame him? And Bobby's like, yep. And Hen's like, Buck's gonna buck. And I was like, honestly, that should be on a shirt. Somebody put Buck's being Buck on a shirt and send it to Oliver. Oh God, that'd be funny. Yeah, and like obviously Buck saves him, like clearly, and Buck I was like, that Buck's gonna do that, like it's just typical. It's kind of like, where did Buck go? Oh, where didn't Buck go?
True.
Yeah. And then like after Buck saves him, one of the guys says thanks, and Ken's clapback is so good. She's like, don't thank us, thank the crazy guy.
I love it. And then Buck's looking around and he sees that Bobby's not pleased.
Oh no.
And it was
Bobby
like
mad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially like the scene after, which I love. I feel like we haven't gotten like Bobby and Buck like talking in a bit. It's been a hot minute. So it was kind of needed. And like Buck kind of walks in, and when Bobby's cooking, he's like, are you gonna say anything? He's like, I don't know, Buck. What would you like me to say? And Buck's like, I mean, usually it's, what were you thinking? That was reckless. Or my personal favorite. You could have been killed.
And Bobby says, no, it doesn't seem like I need to have that conversation. You know it by heart already. And still you went full Buck.
Okay. You say it like it's a bad thing.
Yeah. You'll never be the guy who thinks before he acts, and I've learned to come to terms with that, in part because I realize I don't have a choice. You're never gonna change, but also because I know whatever actions you take, no matter how dangerous or impulsive they come from your heart because you care. Wow, thank you. And Bobby's just like, today was not that. You didn't get caught up in some moment and rush in where angels fear to tread. You made a deliberate choice to make yourself a target. And Buck's just like, yeah, I made myself a target because I wasn't gonna let any of you guys take that risk, because I cannot handle anyone else getting hurt right now. And Bobby's just like, Buck, what happened to Eddie isn't your fault. And Buck's like, no, I was just the guy standing there when it happened who couldn't do anything to protect him. Well, today I could do something to protect the rest of you, so I did. And like this is a clear moment where he's obviously going through something, and I wouldn't be surprised if in season 5 it leads to more. Maybe, maybe not, but I feel like that's kind of the vibe. And like Bobby's like, we're a team and we're supposed to protect each other. Don't do it again. I'm like, he's gonna do it again.
Oh, totally.
He does it like once a season, maybe.
Yeah,
that's
just
about right.
about.
That's about an average.
Yeah.
He maybe not this scenario, but he definitely does something along the lines of this once a season. You know, and the next scene we're just gonna breeze through because none of us really care about this relationship. But Taylor and Buck, basically, like they talk or whatever, it doesn't matter. She kissed him, and it was kind of like, Buck was kind of surprised, and then she leaves, and it's like, no thanks, I didn't ask for this.
No, keep on going. Don't need it.
Yeah, literally.
Keep on running, sweetheart. Bye.
Yeah. Mood.
If you're going to bring in that relationship, then bye.
Bye.
That's just me. Like, I like Taylor, but bye.
Yeah. Promote platonic friendships, but do not promote relationships we do not want, which is 90% of people probably don't want that. I would be surprised if it was 90% and if it wasn't like 98, because I'm sure there's like a 2% that want it to happen. It's like, no.
There are plenty of people that want it to happen, but like, okay, I know this isn't true, so like nobody attack me, but half of them feel like they're just doing it because they're homophobes. And they just don't want a prominent gay couple, which Eddie and Buck would be.
Yeah. I'm always like shocked to find out when people don't ship Buddy, though. I don't know why it's so shocking, but like, come on.
I know, it's like, what universe do you live in?
Yeah, like I've always shipped them, like not like as much as I do now, but I've always liked them and I always felt the vibes. Yeah. And then finally, like I don't know how far this is in the episode. Pretty far in, I think. Maybe like 30 minutes in, I'm not really sure. But Buck gets a call that Eddie's awake and runs there, like practically. And like I love their interaction where Eddie's like, "Hey Buck," and Buck's like, "Hey."
And he has the biggest grin on his face.
Yes.
I'm just like, ah.
Yeah. And then like they talk, but I think this is like before this, like he gets to like talk to Christopher like on FaceTime, and then like after they hang up, Buck or Eddie's like, appreciate you staying with him, and Buck kind of mentions how like Carla offered to bring him to her house, but he figured that it was probably overwhelming enough without having to sleep in a strange bed. And like Eddie kind of asks if he's okay, and he's like, better than me. When I told him I lost it, I should have held it together. And Eddie's like, you were there for him when I couldn't be. That's what matters. Like Eddie doesn't
and he
care.
Was so falling asleep at this point, but
yeah, Eddie doesn't care that you like cried in front of him. Like, it's fine. Like, I'm sure he's done the same thing. And like Buck like kind of mentions like that he should have been the one that got shot and stuff, and Eddie looks at Buck like, the fuck? Shut up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, buddy vibes.
I think if he was any more coherent, he probably would have tried arguing that more, but I think he just kind of went clunk.
He probably would have smacked his head and been like, no. If he had the energy to, but yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And then we quickly find out that the sniper is a cop.
Yeah.
Like, because of like the ammo he used and this kind of stuff.
Honestly, I was thinking the sniper was ex-military.
Same.
So like that surprised me that he was a cop. But generally, I guess unless you're like super familiar with the police force or something, then I think it's kind of natural to like hear sniper and think military, not
right. Cop. Well, yeah, a lot of people forget that there are some cops trained in long range shooting for like SWAT teams and stuff, which is what turned out this guy was.
Yeah. Like I've known that from other shows, but like I didn't even put two and two together. Mainly because this episode one obviously was super intense, so I was more focused on like Eddie than anything else. I didn't really put two and together for like case details. And then like this next scene is another heartbreaking one for Maddie, but Sue and Maddie talk and Maddie quits. and stuff, which I kind of feel like going into season 5, this isn't really her quitting, because I don't think Sue will take her, like, I don't think Sue's gonna take it as her terminating. I
Right.
think
think she's
she's
going to
gonna,
see it as a break.
Yeah.
yeah, like, she's not gonna, like, let her go that easily. Like, I think she's just basically gonna be like, like, no, she's coming back and stuff. And I guess we'll talk more about that later because I definitely have a few things I just thought of. But like Maddie mentions how she's tired and can't focus and she's in the fog. And like, this is like, if you did not get the hint yet, you definitely get it here.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
totally.
It's like obvious and stuff. And like, Sue kind of tells her to talk to Chimney, and I'm like, yes, Maddie, go do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we get a fire call and the shooter is there, but like before that I think Athena interviews like this police guy because they think it was him, but it wasn't him, it
Mm-hmm.
was like his partner or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I
And
think it
stuff.
was the head of one of the SWAT teams had shot somebody, or he was blamed for something, and then his partner got, like, I don't know, SWAT guy left, and then his partner was disgruntled or whatever
Yes,
because he got
exactly.
looked over for the promotion and something like that. Yeah.
That's how it goes, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But Bobby is in like the fire with this guy, and the guy like puts a gun on him and everything. And Athena right away is like wants to go in and get him because of like they know obviously he has a gun in there and stuff. And like Hen doesn't want her to go in, but Buck kind of forms a plan to get her to go in. Like
Right.
honestly.
I mean, he should be a con artist. Like what he could be that in his other life. Like,
Mm.
what the actual hell?
Yeah, like, and like we know Athena goes in and gets Bobby, and then like after we see them at the hospital, and it was really sweet because like I feel like most of the time we've seen like them in opposite scenarios, so it's like nice to see this type of scenario. And now another scene we will be fast forwarding through in like 2 seconds. But Buck and Taylor, I guess, become a couple. And I'm like, no, we did not ask for this. We do not want this. Okay, most of us didn't ask for this. Most of us didn't want this. So, no.
Like, literally, who was asking for that? If somebody was, then direct me at them. Like, that was so violent, wow. But
Mm-hmm.
we know what you mean. Yes. And like, yeah, like, when's the breakup coming? Because that's where my mind just went. Yeah, and then next we get the scene I've been waiting for these last couple of episodes, but Chimney, slightly still oblivious, I feel like, because he does ask her if she's okay, and she's like, no, I am not okay.
Right.
And she's like, she kind of like mentions that like she needs she needs help, but like also like previously Maddie says she doesn't want to talk to the counselors
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, but like yeah, she like talks to him about it, um which is a good step.
Yeah.
And then I love the next scene where Karen, Hen's mom, Antonia. I had to look up her name the other day because they've never mentioned it, and I wanted to know if she actually had a
I think they
name.
have briefly, but like, I don't think anyone's ever noticed it.
Right. It went over my head. That's for sure. So I don't blame anybody for not knowing. But I was like, I kind of want to not call her Hen's mom all the time. Right. She does have a name. She's not just Hen's mom and stuff. And oh my god, out of nowhere, Nia came over and was like, "Mommy Karen, Mommy Hen, Grammy." It was so sweet, and like her birth mother, her mother was so confused until she figured out that they were her foster parents.
Yeah.
And like she didn't know if there were rules, if they were allowed to talk. And like Karen's like, I don't think there are any rules. So she joined them for lunch, and I was like, oh, that makes me so happy because like this is like real life. This is like what would happen in real life, where like it's especially with kids, like parents a lot of times. I actually follow a couple people that are foster parents, and this one guy specifically, he still has a relationship with his former foster children, and like they meet up every once in a while, and I'm like, that's why this is real. Like this is that is amazing. Then this is like the scene, but Eddie is getting ready to leave the hospital, and like Buck's obviously there, clearly. And like Eddie kind of sits him down and was like, "Hey, I need to talk to you about something." And he's like, "Is everything all right?" And Eddie's like, "Yeah, I just been meaning to talk to you about something." And this is when Eddie basically mentions that if something were to happen to him, that Buck will become Christopher's like, I don't want to say his dad because obviously he already has
his
a dad.
Guardian.
His guardian, yes. I can't find the words today, but it's fine. And I really like Eddie being like, "So you might have noticed I almost died again." Yeah, I've had a lot of close calls. This wasn't even my closest. And Buck's like, "Yeah, Eddie," and he's like, "Just let me finish. After the last time when the well collapsed on top of me, which you survived," Buck said. And he's like, after that, it got me thinking, what would happen to Christopher if I hadn't? So I went to my attorney and changed my will. So someday, if I didn't make it, Christopher would be taken care of by you. Buck's like, what? And he's like, it's in my will. If I die, you become Christopher's legal guardian. Buck's just like, I mean, how does this even work? Don't you need my consent? And Eddie's like, my attorney said you could refuse. And Buck's like, you knew I wouldn't. And he's like, nah, I know you wouldn't.
I love that.
And like, I love how the grandparents are mentioned because Buck's like, I mean, he has grandparents, other family, and he's like, yeah, they tried to guilt me into giving Christopher to them after Shannon left. It's not what I wanted then. It's not what I want now. And Buck's just like, if it came to it, wouldn't they fight for him? And he's like, I don't know, maybe, probably. But nobody will fight for my son as hard as you. This is what I want for him. And I'm like, And Buck's like, well, you said you did this last year. Why are you telling me now? And he's like, because Evan. And the fact that he called him Evan, I'm just like, nobody calls him that. Nobody ever, I feel like, besides Maddie, but she doesn't count in this scenario. Nobody that like knows him calls him that. It's just weird. So this is like love, okay? Him calling him. But because Evan, you came in the other day, you said it would have been better if it had been you who was shot. You act like you're expendable, but you're wrong. And I was like,
Anybody who says that is not a buddy scene of all buddy scenes, like, do you realize?
It is a buddy scene.
It totally is.
Okay, so my predictions before this episode, if anybody follows me, were way off because I was like, there's no way buddy can't happen. But this is a good start. This is a good start.
Don't waste it.
Yeah, I know we watched this episode together, so like we were kind of like love, like where's the buddy? Like this needs to happen now. But it is a good start. Season 5, buddy better happen.
Right.
Please, it's been long enough.
And then we have waited 4 seasons. Like,
oh yeah, well yeah,
well 3 seasons technically because Eddie wasn't in. Number 1. But we have waited 3 seasons for the most shippiest ship of all time. Like, what? Other than Carlos, obviously, my babies. But, like, come on.
Yes, literally. Oh, and this whole season has been a buddy season. So, like, come on, what are you waiting for? Just rip off the Band-Aid and give it to us.
Yeah, stop being wimps. Give it.
Sends this audio file to the writers.
Yeah. Did I share, Grace, was it you that I shared the theory with? Or did I share it on here before?
I think you've mentioned it once, but why don't you bring it up again?
Well, I've heard bits and pieces of the fact that they actually, because they were talking about killing somebody off in the end of the season.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
And that there was talk that they were going to kill Eddie off. So I don't think Eddie was ever meant to have this conversation with Buck. I think they had just made Gavin, who plays Christopher, a series regular, I think in season 3. So it wouldn't make sense for them to kill off Eddie, because if they kill off Eddie, then Chris is going to leave the show. But what better way than to keep Chris around by having his guardian be Buck? So I think Eddie was meant to be killed, but I think they had enough support from the cast to have him stick around that they decided to not kill him off. And so we get this really awesome buddy scene.
Yeah, I want to acknowledge that could be a scenario, but I also don't want to believe it, because then we wouldn't have gotten that scene, and that just breaks my heart.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my, I guess, take. But then we get the end montage, and I love the quote, which I feel like I just want to mention now in the voiceover with Bobby. It's Carl Sagan said, "Extinction is the rule, survival is the exception. When the world feels like a never-ending emergency, sometimes just making it through the day can be a struggle. We collect scars, physical and psychological reminders of what we've been through, of who and what we've lost. But maybe those scars can do more than memorialize our past traumas. Maybe they're also a testament to the fact that we're still here. We are exceptional, we are survivors, and we move forward." I love
my God,
that.
I love that.
Like,
I
so
love
much.
it so much. Like, yes.
I love it so much. I might honestly write that somewhere, because I really like it. And stuff. And I feel like we all can put that in our life to some some way and stuff. And through that montage and those words and this thing, Buck brings Eddie home to the surprise, welcome home and everything. And Henning, Karen and Antonia and Nia and Denny they're still having lunch together. We see a firefighter running up steps, but we don't know who it is in this moment. Then Eddie is obviously welcomed by everyone. And I also like to point out, I believe when Eddie went to kiss or whatever Anna, I think he went to the cheek. So
I'd heard that. I didn't catch it, but apparently, when she went to give him a kiss, he kind of...
I've watched that over and over again because I heard that and I'm like, let me see. I think I think
was
the
quick.
theory about that is blown up a little bit because it looks like it was meant to be on the mouth, but I think it went to the side of the mouth.
Yeah.
Almost cheek-ish. It wasn't a direct kiss.
It was quick, but that was just my mind being like, buddy.
If only.
Yeah, and then we fade out of the picnic, and then the firefighter is revealed to be Albert. And that was surprising. I think we all were surprised by that, because there was no real tell the first watch. Obviously, you can piece things together after you've seen it once or twice and stuff. And I kind of like that. I'm interested to see what they will do with it. Also, I have a few things that people have said in general that I'm confused. So a lot of people are hinting that maybe Eddie will deal with some form of PTSD this season, which I believe I've read isn't going to happen. But also I got people think that we're going to see Eddie healing, but Eddie was I don't think the firefighter reveal was obviously right after Eddie was shot. I think he had healed.
No, because he didn't have a sling on when they were doing that. No, he was standing there clapping.
And he was wearing they were all wearing their actual quote unquote uniforms, what they wear typically, not formal, but what they wear on the job day to day. So that's why I was this has to be at least a month and a half or 2 months later.
Right.
But yeah, that's what that made me think of.
Yeah, because I think training for being a firefighter is 2 to 3 months, and at the beginning of the episode, Albert didn't have any idea what he was going to do. He was kind of what do we do next? And then at the end, he's the firefighter. So I think there was quite a bit of time span. So at least 2 months, probably 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. There had to be some jump of time. Also, I don't think they're gonna
training to be a firefighter that can take up to 18 months.
Yes, correct. So yeah, that was the end of the episode. That's how they ended it. And I was very happy with how they ended it because there was no cliffhangers really.
Thank God.
No major ones. Eddie survived. Thank God. We all can live on.
We can actually continue to watch the show now.
Yeah, I was probably, if they did kill him off, I was probably going to watch it for a little bit just to know what happened. But then I was probably going to stop.
My curiosity may have gotten to me by the end, but it was like, I would have given up the ghost at that point. Eddie is my favorite character.
Same.
And it's like, no, not staying around if he doesn't live. So,
favorite season so far.
Mm-hmm.
Really liked Buck this season. Yes, like Buck, what was it, 3.0?
Yeah.
Is a thing. Really is. So, yeah. So now the long-awaited time to talk about our season 5 theories, which we kind of pushed back because we were like, wait, this doesn't make any sense to mention in season 4. Because since we didn't include the finales, obviously, and I was like, okay, let's just mention this in the last episode before fall, like the last talking about the finales. So yeah. I don't know, I don't have too many, which is why like we kind of didn't do like an actual dedicated episode to it because it would have been like 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
yeah.
Not very fascinating. But I definitely think in season 5 they'll kind of dive into Maddie's postpartum depression.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like they have to, even if they skip a couple months and they like do a little time jump, I feel like even so they'll like have to do something with it. And like obviously even if they skip a few months, that's not really make a huge difference because stuff like that takes more than just a few months to like go through.
Right.
And it's like a life, it's a lifelong long struggle. It's not just like, I mean, it gets better, obviously, but like anything, you can still struggle with it and stuff.
And it's not resolved all that easily. Like, you gotta, it can last sometimes for a year. It's completely unpredictable. And so, I know we're all glad, and I think I've heard a lot of other people that have been like, it's so important they're addressing this. And they need to not stop addressing that just because newborn months are over.
Yeah. I've done like lots of research on this because I years ago did like a 10-page-ish research paper on postpartum depression and stuff. So I know it's been like a couple years, but I do know quite a bit. And I think the common, obviously, it doesn't just affect women. Dads go through this too. So I'm definitely, I don't know, I'm excited to see this kind of storyline, to hear this story, because, it happens a lot and stuff. And, yeah. And then another thing I was thinking about recently is I know a lot of people, which we kind of mentioned, were kind of people think that Eddie is gonna have PTSD, which I can't remember what article, but I vaguely remember an article saying that they weren't gonna do that. But maybe this is way out there, but I could definitely see them doing something like that with Buck, and honestly I would like to see it with Buck and stuff. I feel like it'd be really interesting. Yeah, I just feel like it'd be interesting to see his view on it and stuff, since Eddie was shot right in front of him. And I feel like a lot of people assume Eddie's just gonna have PTSD because he's been in the military and that kind of stuff, but
honestly, I would in a way them to focus on I would in a way them to show Eddie having PTSD, but also at the same time I feel like it's unrealistic.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that'd be PTSD on top of his PTSD already. But at the same time, earlier in the season, a transmitter fell on the fire truck and he didn't flinch.
Yeah, I feel like
Did you guys know that he didn't even fucking blink?
Right.
They aren't going to. It's possible, but I really feel like, as much as I'd like them to stop focusing all the angst on Buck, I really feel like it's more likely for him to have to deal with PTSD surrounding that.
Yeah.
Because he's not been in a freaking war zone.
Yeah. It's not even totally a theory. It's kind of like almost a want. I mean, not a complete want, but a little bit of a want. And stuff. And I just thought of this, but why the heck was Josh missing from like the last 2 episodes?
Oh yeah.
Excuse me, you are not allowed to do anything else in your life. I would like you to just be Josh. Thank you very much. That's very selfish to me, but like, excuse me, they like did not give us enough Josh. Also, I just thought of this, but like, if Maddie, like, I think the thing with Maddie quitting is gonna come back up for sure. And just imagine, Josh going to Maddie's like house and being like, what the heck? Like, you need to come back or something like that.
Right.
I could definitely see that happening. Yeah, but that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah. I don't really have that many theories for next season. I imagine there's going to be some, I don't want to admit this, but I imagine there's going to be some Buck and Taylor.
And Eddie and Anna.
I actually don't think so.
Well, okay, I said that, but then at the same time I was thinking, wait, I think we're all thinking of the same thing, but why don't you continue on your thought, EJ?
Oh, I was just going to say, I don't think she's, like, because we haven't heard confirmation she's coming back.
Also, remember that thing she posted on Instagram?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
I figured that's what you're thinking of, but yeah, she posted something on Instagram saying, like, how it was, I don't remember the actual words, and I don't feel the need to pull it up and actually read it word for word. But basically the whole gist was like how she was like saying how fun it was or whatever and blah 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 blah. And yeah, so I kind of get the vibe that maybe something's gonna happen there, and maybe that will lead to Buddy.
Yeah.
That's just me being hopeful. I would be surprised they just continue this cycle of stringing us along.
Well, so we had a season of kind of Eddie and Anna, and then that'll fizzle out, and then we'll have like Buck kind of testing the waters, but then maybe he'll realize there's a shift in his relationship with Eddie while he's still dating Taylor, maybe, and then there'll be like some ebbing and flowing, and we could end season 5 with some Buddy. I don't know.
I'll be content with that. Like, I do kind of not want it to just like out of the blue happen, which obviously at this point it's not out of the blue. This has been a thing for 3 going on 4 seasons now, so it's not like out of the blue. Like, I feel like they're trying to do it right, which I applaud them for, because it would be kind of stupid if they just gave it to us right away, because like you have to give some evolved sense, especially since like we don't know like if they're bi or what the dealio is. We don't know like what their preference is, I guess is a good way to put it. Like, we don't know anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
True.
I mean, like, I know it's, like, people think that Buck is, like, bisexual. He might be. He might also be pan. I could totally see him being pan.
Yeah. I feel like...
And, like... Sorry, go on.
No, go on.
And with Eddie... I don't know why. This is, like, my own personal, like, headcanon, I think. But I think I see him being slightly more demisexual, like someone who forms emotional attachments first. But like I don't think that fits canon necessarily, but I think that fits my head canon. Yeah. That like he's a little bit more, but also it's like he could just plain be bucksexual. Like
I like bucks. Imagine that.
He's like, I like Buck. I don't care what else. Like I could see that. Yeah. Of course, if that happened, I want, if they were going to make Buddy happen, which they better freaking make Buddy happen. I'm sorry. Oh, that was violent.
No, you're good.
But I want like an entire season of development.
Oh,
like,
same.
Yeah. Give me like don't make them be assholes to each other. Buck's almost 30. Eddie's in his 30s. They're not angsty teenagers anymore.
Oh, like, so true.
Stop. Take the emotional maturement from Carlos and give some to Buddy. Like, don't make them be constantly breaking each other's hearts. Don't take what a lot of fans stupidly do and make Eddie an asshole, because he's not. And I want to I'm going to punch some people sometimes if they do that. Like, honestly, they need to, like, gently cultivate it and make it happen in season 6. Like,
Yeah, this just made me think of it. The other day I saw something on Twitter. There was like the scene of like when Buck and Chris are eating cereal, and somebody was like, it's like there's two children there or something along the lines of that. And I was like, relatable.
Well, wait, wasn't there a scene in the beginning of season 2 of Eddie and Chris eating a cereal?
Oh yeah, when they're what episode was that called? I can't remember. Grace probably knows.
Wait. That was 4. That was Stuck.
I knew you would know.
You knew I'd know. That's one of my favorite episodes, okay?
Like I'm not with season 1 of Lone Star. I can pretty much tell you what happened in what episode or like what the episodes are called. Like somebody said something. This is so irrelevant, but I'm putting it out there. Somebody was like, in episode 2, TK said that's hot. I was like, actually, it was episode 3.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to be that person, but I've seen it so many times where I can't.
Right.
Anyways, yeah, I'm excited for season 5. I'm happy that at least we're getting this in fall because if you know that Lone Star not coming back till January 2022, and I need something that is 911 based, like Fox 911 based. I'm not talking about other shows that are fire 911-ish. I'm talking about this franchise. I need something, and at least this will hold us over a little bit. I just hope they don't piss me off too bad. Because I know I'm going to get irritated over Taylor and Buck and like that relationship. So at least give me something. Like bring Josh back a lot. Give us lots of Buck and Chris.
There'll never be too much Josh. I'm sorry. I love him.
There's no definition of too much Josh that doesn't exist. Yeah, but guys, this is so bittersweet because this is like our last episode, last recording, last episode for like a few months, like sometime in fall. So it's kind of bittersweet, but it's like crazy because we've been like recording for like pretty much 8 months now, and like it'll be nice to have like a little break. Like we'll still have our own mini podcast in our personal lives and we talk, but we won't be recording for like at least a couple months. Still TBD, but yeah, it is very bittersweet, and like this is such a fun episode to end it off for a little bit now and stuff. And I know like we've talked about this off the podcast, but eventually during our hiatus, I know we've talked about possibly doing like Instagram lives because now you can do 3 people in a live, so we're so excited for that. We're like, finally.
Right.
We've always like not been able to do one because of that, so we'll probably do one eventually because we're gonna need something to do while we have no Lone Star and while we're not recording. And then we also talked about like doing rewatches of like episodes and like streaming it to our YouTube, which you should definitely follow and stuff. And like we'll have just our commentary and you can watch the episode with us, but we won't have the audio because it'll get taken down. But
and you can always connect with us on our Discord server, which is like a chat room for those who don't know what it
is. It's so fun, and that would be like the perfect time because like we're all like missing the show at the same time. Now we're all caught up since we don't have anything to talk about. Yeah, and I know we have like so many things planned for the fall. It's just getting there and stuff. And Lone Star will start filming soon. I think it'll be end of July. I know Rhoda knows what it is, and it's marked in his calendar.
Right. I know, he just posted that.
And I was like, Rhoda, we don't need more of your teasing. We can wait a few months.
Didn't they just announce when 911 OG was going to start filming?
I believe the 12th or the 15th of July.
Yeah, July.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's July 12th, maybe? Yeah, so that's coming up soon.
So I'm assuming like August, maybe?
I was thinking end of July, August, yes, for Lone Star. Because like even though it's not airing till January, they still could film it now and stuff. Well, not now, but like in a month now.
Yeah, well, because they like to take a break around the holiday season, so if they start filming by August, they could get at least half the season filmed before then. So
yeah, and I think August is when they started filming season 1, I believe.
I think so, something like that.
I think that's what Vernon and Rafa said at some point. I forget and stuff. So yeah.
And oh my god! And you guys got to check out the interview they did the other day. That was so cute. I did not know that Ronan and Rafa were going to do that interview together.
No,
I didn't know that was the thing. So yeah, same. Like I saw people posting it, and I was like, okay, I need to find where this is from.
Yeah.
Yeah, like literally.
I don't know. I'm gonna miss recording, but it's gonna be. We're gonna have fun this summer. We're gonna keep in touch. You guys can always reach out to us and chat. But podcast will be back. We will be back.
Yeah, and I know like in my mind when we were recording, there were so many parts of this, so I'm like, okay, I'm making that into a clip. So if I don't post, I probably won't post them all at once. I'll probably like savor them so that way I can post them like once a week or every once in a while, because I know there's so many good ones that I'm going to do that for.
I love it.
You should have been in my brain. I was like, oh my god, that would be perfect.
Thank you guys so much for joining us and listening. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Anchor, and we are also on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, and almost anywhere where podcasts can be found. On iTunes, please rate us and leave us a review. It would mean a lot to us. You guys can follow the podcast on our socials at 911 Ellis Roundup on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Of course, don't forget we have a Discord server, and the link will be in the description of this podcast and also in our Instagram bio. We would love to have conversations over not only the show's hiatus, but also like now our hiatus.
And you can follow me, Katie, at For Love of Tarlos on Instagram and at For Love of Tarlos on Twitter.
You can follow me, Grace, at RonanRaffin901 on Instagram and at SheepGirl31 on Twitter.
You can follow me, EJ, at EJ8302 on Instagram and Twitter.
All right. See you guys.
See you in a few months.
In the fall.
See you guys in the fall. Bye.
Bye.